And we are live. My man, I am excited to bring on this guest, Jeremy Lewis from Foundation Financial, syndicate member, new syndicate member. Wanted to get him on and discuss his experience in the syndicate, get a bit of a background story of where he came from, his journey in the insurance space, and ultimately his experience with us. So, without further ado, Jeremy, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well, Chase. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no worries, no worries. So maybe you can give the people watching just a little background of who you are, where you've come from in the insurance space, how long you've been in the insurance space. 30-second run around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sounds good, man. So, of course, well, my life journey is something else. Of course, I'm a former Army captain. Got out the military, went into the entrepreneurial world, partnered with my wife, owned hair salons. We lived out in Hawaii for a while. So, of course, in the midst of COVID, we decided that we wanted to move closer to family and friends. I took a job in the health insurance space at first and did really well for a company. Just last year alone, I issued about $1 million in business on the health side of the house, but it didn't reflect in my bank account, And so I decided to make the transition over to life insurance. I partnered with FFL, Family First Life, and just at the start of this year in January, I went all in. So I walked away from bonuses on the health side of the house, and I thought that I could make up for it on the life side. So partnered with FFL, and the rest is history, man. Did really well. Of course, one of the major pieces of the pie was finding the right lead sources, and
Mhm.
and so of course I worked with a lot of different lead sources, live transfer companies, but did really well. And so, of course, when I was introduced to Unreal, I was like, okay, man, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a try here. And I'll just say, Chase, you guys have far exceeded my expectations.
Awesome.
Because when it comes down to live transfers, man, the one thing that really matters is the bottom line and the cost per acquisition. And that's where you guys just totally blow away the competition. So I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the syndicate.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate those kind words.
Absolutely.
Why live transfers for agents watching that? Maybe haven't taken the leap on live transfers or just don't have the knowledge on it. Why live transfers? Why would you take live transfers other than other lead sources?
Well, I mean, it really boils down to is time, right?
Yeah,
Time is money, and when you're working with other lead sources, data leads, or, you're prospecting warm markets, that takes time.
yeah,
You know, live transfer, you have a live client, a high intent client there on the other end, on the other end, someone that has been shopping for life insurance online. And of course, we're grateful to have the call center that reaches out to them.
mhm,
And you guys, again, just blow away other companies in terms of how the call center representatives, how they prep the clients for working with an agent, And so live transfers really allow you to schedule your day,
yeah,
especially in this space and especially with companies like Family First Life, which I'm a part of, where we are wanting to recruit, and invite people to this awesome opportunity,
mhm,
and so I have a team of agents that I'm working with as well. And so taking those live transfers, I'm able to tell you guys, hey, I want to work from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock as far as transfers. And then that gives me time to, of course, focus on personal production during that block of time. But
yep.
then also I can spend the rest of my day working with my agents, training agents, and getting them up to speed. And so live transfers give you a lot more control over your schedule.
Very cool. Very cool. Now to talk maybe more about the experience you've had in the syndicate. Um, what's been some things you've been able to take away knowledge wise from one of maybe the other members, if you have? What's been one of the key things or a key nugget you've been able to take away to hone in your craft as a telesales agent?
As a telesales agent, I had never been that privy to rebuttaling, right, or handling objections. That training call that we did a couple days ago with Antoine and the other guys, um, rebuttals, man, handling objections. Those guys are masters,
Yeah,
and not only on the training calls, but also with the nuggets that they drop throughout the day on Discord.
yeah,
I take everything that they put out there, man, and I'm adding it to my toolkit. And
yeah.
I think it's definitely providing a lot of value for me as an insurance agent producer. But then also, man, I like to take those things and really apply them to what I'm doing. And it's also helping my team, and I'm hoping to bring them on board with Unreal at some point in time, because again, I'm not that privy to objection handling and rebuttal. And so that's probably the major piece or the major takeaway that I've gathered from working with you guys in the syndicate. Another piece, man, is just being able to have a network of individuals, like-minded individuals that are positive. They're great vibes in the syndicate, man. The guys are absolutely amazing in terms of their professionalism, their expertise.
Mm,
My one-on-one call with Antoine was amazing. There wasn't a whole lot of things that he harped on as far as what I could do better, but yet and still, I learned so much from him in that one conversation, that 30-minute conversation. I mean, because he's been his experiences in sales has been
yeah,
far stretch,
yeah,
and so just his professionalism, his delivery, his tone, his
yeah.
presence,
It
man,
gets you with it.
it's been amazing.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, if you were to recommend this program to some person, who would that person be? And be honest with this. What would that type of person need to be successful in this program?
um, that person has to be someone that's willing to, first of all, take risk. We're all independent business owners.
Yeah.
And of course, if I was going out there and I was starting a shoe business or a sock store or whatever else, it takes money, you know? And so there's no way for us to be successful as life insurance agents if if we're not willing to spend money,
For sure.
so we have to be able to first take that risk, right?
Yeah.
But also, that person is that will come on board is someone that um, needs to have some degree of drive, and discipline, because it takes drive and discipline to be successful as an insurance agent, not just part of the syndicate, but any insurance agent. You have to have some degree of drive and discipline.
Yeah.
And then lastly, man, someone that's willing to hustle.
Yeah.
And when I say hustle, from a number of different perspectives, but importantly, someone that's willing to follow up. Not every call is going to be a one call close.
Hmm.
So if a person working in the insurance space is apt to following up with clients and being diligent about scheduling appointments and following up and things of that nature, I mean that's a person that will definitely have success in this syndicate.
Very cool. Very cool. I appreciate this, man. This has been good insight for some people that maybe have been on the offense or people that are joining and listening to this now. Good expectation of what's to come when joining the syndicate. So, um,
Absolutely.
if you were to give your absolute experience, I think you've had some pretty good results. Do you know what type of results you've been able to get through the syndicate right now? I think this is only your first couple of weeks. So, what do you know what production you've been able to put up in the first couple of weeks?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I think it's been what about 2 weeks, roughly 2 weeks. We're coming up
Yeah,
on 2 weeks here. I think I've sold 9 to 10 policies.
yeah.
Um,
I
and
think
again, Chase, at the end of the day, it's about cost per acquisition, but it's also about the bottom line, right?
yeah,
And so I think I spent roughly about $1,300, on calls, somewhere in that neighborhood of that. But I mean, I've made probably about $5,000 off the calls,
and you
So
still
so
and you still have like half your balance of that 13. I think you've only spent technically $800 out of
yeah,
that balance.
exactly. But at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line, right?
Yeah,
So if I spend 800 or 1,300, but I've made $5,000 is actually deposited into my account,
yeah.
that's what matters.
That's what matters. Exactly.
And there's still some business that's pending, right? Not every carrier pays out upon issue. Of course, working in the final expense space, for my clients that are on Social Security, disability, we want to make sure their payments align with their deposits, right? And so I
Exactly.
still have money that's going to be paid out here soon,
Yeah.
but when
But
we're talking about deposits,
it's a
you
lot
know,
easier to manage when you know tomorrow you have dependable source of conversations. You're not gonna have to beat the phones to get that AP that might
exactly,
not stick. Right?
exactly,
At least if
exactly,
one doesn't stick, you have 20 more conversations this week that are people that are gonna want to buy anyway. So it gives you
exactly.
some peace of mind too when one policy falls through. You're like, well, we'll get the next one, right? And
Right, exactly,
links
exactly,
takes you off the hamster wheel of being like, fuck, I have to dial, excuse my language, but fuck, I have to dial down a big list of leads because we've all been there. And now you
right.
have a dependable source of conversations, which is really what I've seen to be the biggest game changer in some of the people's businesses. Yeah,
Absolutely.
jumping in, it's going to be an investment at first. It's not
Yeah.
a $3-4 lead where you can bang a couple and make some mistakes, right? But
Right.
it's more dependable conversations, so it's less time that you're gonna have to spend to
Exactly.
to have some acquisitions.
And that's
And
what matters, time is money,
exactly.
and I just want to make sure that I allude to the fact that, you know, $55, live transfer versus $100 live transfer versus a 115, live
Mm,
transfer, which I've paid for in the past, and
mm,
so when you're doing, analysis of cost of spectrum of live transfer companies, this is a no-brainer. It just makes sense.
mhm.
Not only that, but the buffer system that you guys have in place as far as this, screening and things of that nature is amazing. It's true 90-second buffer, you
Yeah,
know, and so of course that takes some integrity on our behalf as far as trying to make sure we're doing the right thing by the clients and not necessarily focusing on the buffer, but yet and still that buffer system is amazing.
yeah.
So again, it's a no-brainer.
And once you've kind of removed the belief of the buffer isn't there to really qualify, it's there to make sure that the disconnects aren't there, etc. But you start to
Hmm.
take time with all of your clients, the more
Right.
stones you leave unturned, which
Exactly.
inevitably creates more opportunities because there's going to be a lot of times where people are skeptical in the beginning of a call. You can't
Right.
There's no way you can judge character in 90 seconds, but you can judge
Exactly.
intent, some sort of intent.
Exactly.
And the ones that will tell you they're not interested, boom, gone. Next one on the phone, right? But
Exactly.
as long as you have that belief of taking every stone left unturned, you should find great success in this program. I think you've
Absolutely.
taken a total of, actually, I pulled it up, 11 calls technically, and you've
Right.
closed 9 policies. So that's pretty darn freaking good.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it'll drop and go up and drop and go up. There's ebbs and flows with everything, but
Absolutely.
consistency is where it's at. So I appreciate you jumping on, man. If there's anything you would leave for somebody who's viewing this that might be on the fence of joining, feel free to leave us with that now. If not, we'll end it
Just do it. Just do it, Nike, man. Just do it.
here.
Again, it's a win-win. If
Boom.
you want to take your business to the next level, live transfers are essential. And if you're looking at live transfers, unreal is unreal.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll get you ready because I'm sure you have to get back to calls here soon. So get prepped, and we'll see you on the dials later, man.
All right, perfect, Chase. Thanks again for
Thank
having
you.
me.